So this nigga jumps on they hood, reaches through they windshield, and pulls off the nigga whole steering wheel. Bro, even Sam is looking at this nigga like,
come on, man, what the fuck is you doing, cuz?
So today for y'all, we have the CTE having crash out. And it's not like we didn't see the signs. That dude was a tweak. The nigga was born in the 1900s with the middle name Buchanan. He was set up for failure. So we started with Nick Fury arguing with his shorty on the phone. He tell her she need to pull up on him in about 3 hours. She say yeah, and then he hangs up, and then he's sitting at the light bumping that boss man D-Lo straight. I'm presidential leaving the club. We ain't stopping at no lights. But the police run up on him and he turned that shit down instantly. Cause this nigga actually gonna stop at the light. If I was the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., I wouldn't have stopped that shit. So Fury looks over and does a double take like me when I see my girl walk by. I just be standing there admiring like, and it's just two beat cops. They staring at my son like it's 1960.
That's gotta be racist. There's no way.
Like they on that.
I can't believe these motherfuckers are free.
And then Fury like,
what the fuck is you looking at, my nigga?
the police bleep their sirens and then he drives off. And then somebody comes in and casually trucks his ass with a police car. And then they just start ramming the fuck out of him and blocking him in. And then these niggas in SWAT uniforms pull up and he gotta pop a stem. And then they just start dumping at his car. Shit sounded like a typical night in Chicago. And then they just so casually pull out an electronic battering ram. They proceed to set up the battering ram and Fury turns into a passenger princess because he hops right in the other seat. And then they start ramming the fuck out of his car. Motherfucker was bouncing like the grandma from Don't Be a Mince to South Central. Fury waits for them to get his window one shot and then he pulls a minigun out of his center console and starts shooting these niggas, and that motherfucker shooting grenades too. That ain't even the wildest part. Look at these niggas running. Them niggas finna get away from Hydra, easiest unsigning ever. So Fury hop back in the passenger seat and takes over driving, and now he in a high-speed chase. This nigga gets in traffic and he like, fuck it, I'm finna just start ramming into cars. When I tell you, nigga, I would be pissed. Like, imagine you signed the paperwork, gave them your down payment, you came home from the dealership in your brand new Hellcat. You feeling yourself, my boy. And then this nigga just rams into your shit from behind. Man, the Avengers wouldn't even have been able to save bro. So while Fury is still causing mad property damage, ramming into every car on the street, to get to Fury, this nigga starts shooting him through the train windows.
Bro, what you on?
So he bags that motherfucker up.
Pause.
And then he hits the dude standing behind him. And then while bro in the front is shooting him, he rams into another car, making bro fly into a bus stop. And then he just drives off. And when I'm telling you, they are pulling out all the stops to kill this man, I am not playing. Cause bro hangs out the car, pulls out his gun, and starts spraying that motherfucker, probably hitting innocents and all. But Fury had something for his ass, cause he was like, what's this? Cause Fury was like, fuck it, and rams his car into him. So he hits him with the right hand and backhand. Then he sees an intersection coming, so he stomps on the brakes, and bro hanging out the car, still trying to shoot him. And then they get smacked by a Penske truck. And hey, y'all clap it up. Nick Fury got away from their ass.
Psych a lot!
Hell no. This nigga spots the Winter Soldier through his busted ass window, and he in front of him. And this nigga fires a disc grenade at the bottom of his car and make that whole flip over, and then he casually just moves out the way. So he starts walking over slow as hell. Like, nigga, you are not Jason. You better put some pep in your step, because we all know Nick Fury plot armor is insane. But it was too late, because Nick Fury already busted his move and got away. And how did he cut through all that ground, my nigga? Did he just happen to land on a sewer? Cause this nigga's plot armor is ridiculous. So we fast forward to Cap and he arrived at his apartment and he immediately sees his future wife. This nigga loved those Carter jeans more than his shield, because this nigga was literally talking to the niece of his ex-girlfriend. And hold on now, cause I know I'm not tripping. If Steve went back in the past and they claimed that he was Peggy's husband to begin with, that means that he kissed his own grandniece.
Well, ain't no way, what?
And I already know somebody gonna be in my comments like, well, Casper, she wasn't actually his niece.
Shut your lame ass up, man.
My nigga, I am not reading that 16-story penthouse Drew Brees neck ass message you just typed out. But Cap starts to spit the hardest game to her, invite her to dinner and everything. But she like, thank you, but damn, is she about to say no? Does she know I'm Captain America? Did you see your suit in the first Avengers movie? That shit was trash. Hell no. Hey, come on now. You know that shit was clean. No. Yeah, right, nigga. But before Cap goes back into his apartment, she turns around and tells him that she think he left his stereo on. And then Cap starts to get weirded out because he hear Boss Man D-Lo through the door, and he an old head from the 1900s. He don't be listening to that shit. So instead of going through the door, this nigga climbs through his own window and he creeping around that bitch like he the intruder. Shit reminded me of Mystery of Batwoman when bro decided to choose peace. Hold up, let me check this room for me. Hey, who the fuck up in here?
Is that the Grim Reaper?
Fuck no, baby.
Everything all good? Hell no, stop sweating me, cuz. That was weird. But Cap sees it's just Fury and he on that sitting in the dark by the lamp trope. Like, nigga, you are not Batman. So Steve goes to turn on a light and they see this nigga Fury was getting his ass jumped, and then they do their best to talk in code. Because a little backstory for y'all, S.H.I.E.L.D. done turned on my boy. And that's because Hydra grew inside of S.H.I.E.L.D. and now them niggas are using the Winter Soldier to cook everybody, especially the Avengers. So Fury stands up and he's still yapping about the same shit, and this nigga catches 3 gunshots through a wall. So Fury falls to the ground and then Cap starts to pull him away, and then he spots the Winter Soldier standing outside his window menacing as hell. So Cap neighbor busts in, the one that just shot his ass down, and then he find out all along she was just a spy for S.H.I.E.L.D. and she really wasn't fucking with my nigga at all. So Cap spots Bucky leaving, and you know he gotta look good in front of the hoes. So this nigga jumps out the window, lands inside another building. He gets up and is casually tracking Bucky and running straight through walls. Like, put this nigga on the Baltimore Ravens and on God we win in the Super Bowl. But Cap busts through this wall and he starts to catch up to Bucky, and he sees him drop down. So he jumps out another window, rolls, and then throws his shield at him. But he turns around and catches that hoe with no effort at all and proceeds to throw that shit back at Cap, putting this nigga on skates, and then he just disappears into the night. And then look at Cap run over. This was the first time we seen that this nigga was Captain Save-A-Ho because he was willing to crash out for Bucky lame ass. So we cut to Fury and he's flatlined and he basically dead. And I got beef with this nigga Nick Fury. Is it me, or how many times is bro gonna fake his death? I mean, I never saw the day where I thought a live action person would die more than Kenny from South Park. Bro had Agent Coulson faking his death in the first Avengers movie just to give these niggas a Zenkai boost, and I ain't gonna lie, that shit worked. So Cap and Natasha leave out the room and Cap trying to spit game again, and now Cap down 0-1 in the series since Sharon shot him down. So this NPC walks up to Cap and he like, hey Cap, they want you back at S.H.I.E.L.D. So Cap like, okay, just a second. And instead of leaving right there, this nigga still standing there talking about some, they need you now. So Cap turn around like, okay, don't you see me trying to cook my nigga? I'm trying to show her what else that super soldier serum grew. But Natasha like,
You thought I was feeling you?
and then now look at my boy Cap. Nigga got the hands on the hips. He's depressed as hell. The ambulance finna come get this nigga like, damn, gang, what happened to this nigga? Dog, the streets say he lost 2 holes in 1 day. They said the nigga body couldn't take the constant rejection. But Cap just had to take his L. You know how niggas be when they lose their first bad bitch.
I can't eat! I'm broke, nigga! I'm broke! And you got the power to change that, Kev!
So we skipped the Cap exiting the room talking to this 100-year-old James Gordon ass nigga. And he like, I'm gonna find out whoever killed my friend. And anyone that gets in my way is gonna regret it. Anyone. That kindergarten ass threat. You just know bro was one of them kids that was like, you don't want to see my bad side. When I get mad, I see red.
You are a loser. Simple. Accept it. Move on.
And then we see Cap entering this elevator and he looking out the window, and these 3 niggas in black jumpsuits come in. So Rumlow starts yapping trying to keep Cap unsuspicious, but this dumb nigga clutching his taser already. And then about 6 more people in suits hop in the elevator again. So Cap must have smelled a disturbance in the air because he instantly looks at this black man and
Yo, what the fuck?
that stare gotta have some animosity behind it. But this nigga is sweating profusely like bro is nervous for the ass whooping that is soon to be coming. And then Queso, Los Polos, and this nigga in the front hop on the elevator. And if it was really Queso on that elevator, it would have been GG's. That would have been the death of Captain America right there. And Cap's spidey senses must have been tingling because bro was just like,
before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
and I ain't gonna lie, them words would have made me leave right then. But they said fuck that, and then these niggas started jumping the fuck out of Cap. He hits the emergency stop, and then this Kurt Angle looking ass nigga got my boy in a chokehold, and then there's 2 niggas trying to cuff my boy. So he overpowers them, kicks bro in the knee, and then throws this nigga into wall. Elbows the black man, and then kicks bro in the chest. Throw punches this nigga right here, and then hits bro with a mean left. Had that nigga looking at the view outside like, damn, it is a nice day outside. And then his head bounces off the window like a basketball. And I guess Cap was just like,
I think we ain't done yet.
You personally.
I think we ain't done yet.
cause he headbutted headbutts bro behind him and throws that nigga over his shoulder. Bro kicks Cap arm into the wall, and then this nigga starts cooking him with one arm. He elbows Rumlow in the face, grabs bro and throws his ass at the camera, making him bounce off that hood. Then he grabs bro's arm, making him shock his homie, giving him that friendly fire. Cap eats a gun punch and then throw chops Buddy right there, and then double kicks both of they ass mid-air. And then to finish off this mean ass combo he cooking up, he grabs bro's arm mid punch, and then Bruce Lee kicks this nigga in the jaw. This nigga climbs up the wall and then backflips off that hoe, hits bro with the elbow, dumps under the punch, uppercuts this nigga, and then grabs the other dude and throws his ass into the elevator. I just know one of them niggas wanted to get off the elevator. When they woke up, they was probably like, so Rumlow gets up and he trying to parlay with Cap, but then he starts shocking my nigga. But the energy shifted so fast because this nigga hits him with the right and then grabs his ass and throws him into the ceiling. Nah, gang, I'm not even sure this video should be about Bucky anymore. This shit is getting serious. And then this nigga kick flips his shield up into his arm, and now all of shield is on his ass. So Cap proceeds to jump through this window, fall through another building, and land on his shield. And then my nigga casually flies out of the compound on his motorcycle. And then a jet appears out of nowhere, so it's looking grim for my nigga, until he just throws his shield like a Beyblade, and then one shot stay instant, and then this nigga flips over them, grabs his shield, and then he almost catches fall damage, but he proceeds to do a front flip up and then throw his shield at both thrusters, jump off, and then land clean as hell. Then that motherfucker spins out and crashes, and then look at Cap.
I'm right there, nigga. I'm right there, nigga.
So we skip and we see Sam got a knock at the door, and it's Natasha and Cap, and they are dirty as hell. And that's because Hydra tried to drop a cruise missile on their ass, but they survived and got up out of there. And then we skip to the present, and they at Sam house running up his water bill and shit. Really, and then Steve, Natasha, and Sam plan to kidnap this Richard Jefferson ass nigga for information. We skip to him on the phone with who he think is Alexander Pierce, but it's actually Falcon. Then he on the phone like,
hey, you Jeffrey Dahmer glasses wearing ass nigga, it's gonna be a car around the corner, go get in that motherfucker.
And why would I do that? Because for a nigga, that tile look really expensive. Bro was shook as fuck, his whole energy shifted. So we cut to them in a car, and this nigga Bucky jumps on top of the car, pulls this nigga out, and throws him into a semi-truck. And then while he on top of the car, he starts airing that bitch out. So Cap puts that bitch in park, sending a Winter Soldier flying. And while bro on the highway posing, this big ass Humvee comes from behind and smacks they ass and starts pushing them into Bucky. So this nigga jumps on their hood, reaches through their windshield, and pulls off the nigga whole steering wheel. Bro, even Sam is looking at this nigga like,
come on, man, what the fuck is you doing, cuz?
And I ain't gonna lie, it's looking like GG's for them. You in a car with no steering wheel, you're cooked. So they hit the car again, sending that motherfucker tumbling, and somehow Cap, Falcon, and Black Widow was able to fit on one door. So now Sam tumbling and Cap and Natasha on that
surfboard.
Then this nigga right here proceeds to hand Bucky a grenade launcher, and then he shoots that bitch right at Cap, sending that nigga bouncing off a car roof into a bus. And bro, I know y'all probably thinking, man, ain't no way it can get worse than that. But the same bus that Cap flew into gets hit by a truck, making them flip over. I mean, this nigga Cap cannot catch a break. We cut back to Bucky and his minions walking these niggas down, and this nigga just launches a grenade at Natasha, and this nigga Falcon just leaves her there to defend for herself.
Like I said, that shit ain't got nothing to do with me, gang.
So this nigga shoots a nade at her ass, and she jumps off the bridge and grapples onto the wall and swings down. And then Bucky starts searching the area, and then out of nowhere this nigga gets shot in the face, and he takes off his glasses, and bro look mad as hell, and you can see the crash out symptoms on this nigga face right now. So this nigga gets up and looks down and starts spraying, but Black Widow blinking back. We know Shorty only got 2 moves, the Rey Mysterio and 2 Glocks. So these niggas grapple down and they pull out a minigun and start evaporating the bus that Cap is in and turning that bitch into dust. So Cap jumps out the side and is ricocheting they bullets back into it, and bro is using high ground to his advantage. So Cap starts rushing in, rolls over this man back, grabs him and slams him into the roof, leaving a human-sized dent on top. And then we skip to Bucky, and this nigga is in the streets tweaking, looking for Natasha. So bro rolls a nade to the other side of the car, making it blow up, but he ain't know she was part of Sneak Clan, cause she pops out of nowhere, kicks this nigga gun away, and jumps on his neck and tries to strangle him with the wire, but he like,
stupid, I'm not gonna let you get the chance.
And then this nigga throws her ass into a car. And hold up, nigga, who edited this shit? Must have been the same 4 people from the Madam Web movie, cause how he throw her at a minivan and she landed on a Camaro, and then she throws a shotgun at his ass and just runs away. But he like,
there's no way out of this one. You're done.
And while she running, he booms her ass and then pops up out of nowhere. And he finna end her shit, but then Captain Save-A-Hole runs up. And then Bucky punches his shield and we get this clean ass frame. But he smacks that shit away and drop kicks Cap and then starts shooting his ass while he rolled up in a ball. Bucky starts shooting at him while he's running around the car. Then he runs out of ammo and Cap like, now it's my time. Cause he jumps over the car, kicks that nigga arm, and Bucky starts shooting his ass again until he gets hit with a mean right, and he goes to hit Bucky with the shield, but he gets caught and eats a gut punch and then another right hook. And then Bucky grabs his shield, flips him, and then this nigga starts cooking him with his own shield. Cause he hits him in a forearm and then throat chops that nigga across the street, and he's standing there like, yeah, I'm Captain America now. So Cap like, no, fuck that! Oh, everything y'all got me fucked up! Oh my mama, y'all got me fucked up! And then Cap runs up to him and Bucky throws his shield at him and he dodges. And then they start getting into it. It's that shit that had my 10-year-old ass in the theaters going crazy. Cap blocks a low and a high. Nigga got that wax on, wax off technique. And then Bucky goes for the overhead and a left, but Cap blocks that shit. And Bucky flips his knife in the air and goes for the overhead again, but Cap blocks it again and then blocks the low. And then he grabs his arm, pushes him, and then dodges the right and then the left. And then he hits his ass with the right and then a spinning back kick into the wall, leaving a dent in that hoe. And then Cap like,
I'm not finished.
Cause he runs in and hits this nigga with a flying knee from the top rope. Cap goes for the right, gets caught, and then Bucky blocks his ass and then he gets tossed to the ground. But Bucky grabs his ass and he's strangling this nigga. He pulls him in and he like, you know how to fly, right? And then he throws his ass over the car. He jumps on the car, then off it for no reason at all. And then he tries to take off Cap's head, but he rolls up out of there and they start boxing casually. And then this nigga Bucky throws him into the van, kicks him, and then uses that robotic ass arm to fillet the van. And then Cap grabs this nigga from behind. Pause. And then he takes that nigga straight to Suplex City and then hits the Chang special with this clean ass kip up. He grabs his shield and they start boxing, but Cap blocking them hoes. So Bucky hits him with the right and then tries to kick him in the dick.
What did you just say?
But he blocks it and weaves the left hook. And who was this nigga aiming for? Yao Ming? But he grabs that nigga arm and is finna rip that bitch off. But he uppercuts him with the shield, spins around his back, grabs his throat, and then flips the nigga over his shoulder. And this is where the Bucky dick riding began. Cause he finds out all along that the Winter Soldier has been his best friend Bucky. So Cap like, Bucky? And then he like, who the fuck is Bucky? I mean, that CTE was really kicking his ass. Put this nigga Antonio Brown and Floyd Mayweather in a spelling bee. Them niggas gonna be out there like me, Mayweather, Floyd. Money I love. Blue, green, purple, and Oz is Antonio Brown. And we competed in this year's CTE beat all the spelling. But we cut back to the fight and this nigga pulls his gun out on Cap, but Falcon comes in and drop kicks this nigga. He gets up and starts crashing out again and he finna boom Cap, but Natasha shoots a grenade at his ass and then he disappears into the daylight. So we skip to Bucky in the chair and he remembering his past. And I know the nigga that was in charge of reapplying his CTE was mad as fuck. He had to keep coming back like Tom Brady from his retirement. I'm sorry to tell you guys this, but I have to retire. It's time to focus on my family now.
3 hours later.
Fuck them kids and my ex-wife. If I come back, you gonna join me?
Yeah, man. Bet I'm gonna retire.
I am the fucking GOAT. And then Bucky wakes up tweaking and backhands this doctor into the wall. And then Alexander Pierce comes in and he bitch slapped this nigga for no reason. But that shit did not faze him at all. He was just like, the man on the bridge. The one that was dressed like a stern father figure. Who is he? And y'all know that nigga do not want him to know who Cap really is. So they lay my boy back down and reapply that crash out and CTE chip. It's basically the same shit Chase had when he turned into Spike. And then we skip to this guy saying we're the only air support Captain Rogers got. And then they shit get blown up and then Bucky walking them down shooting nades at they ass. So bro runs up and he finna throw a frag at this nigga. But Bucky shoots him and runs and grabs the frag off the ground and throws that shit in the back of a jet. Somebody tries to shoot him but they get blocked by his left arm, and then this nigga winds up a wild right and then rocks this nigga.
Ooh, you know you did.
And then the shit don't stop there. This nigga Sparta kicks bro into a jet engine. And y'all remember when I said this should be a Cap video?
Never mind.
And then he takes off in the jet up to the helicarrier. So Cap is finna get his ass blown up, so he calls Falcon for a ride. And then he proceeds to jump off the side of the helicarrier, but then Falcon catches him and they back on the ground and he like, God damn, you heavier than you look. And then Cap like, nigga, you always look like you up to no good. And then Bucky comes out of nowhere and trucks Cap ass off the helicarrier. And then Falcon starts acting like a groupie because he like, Steve! I just know Dr. Umar was somewhere sick watching this. But bro tries to jump off and Bucky grabs his ass with one arm and throws his ass into the air. So Falcon brings out his Uzi, but this nigga has to be half stormtrooper because he can't hit for shit. So Bucky starts camping and Falcon like fuck it and flies away. And he grapples this nigga wing, pulls him down, rips that bitch off and runs up and kicks this nigga off too. And now my son free falling, and if it wasn't for that reserve shoot, this nigga would have been looking like plankton. So we finally get to the fight we've been waiting for, the crash out versus the groupie. So Cap trying to do all that parlaying, but Bucky is staring into this man's soul. He's straight locked in. That is not your friend anymore. So Cap throws his shield and it gets blocked, and Bucky starts to shoot at my boy, but Cap is well versed in shield techniques. Except this nigga catches one in the gut, and then Cap clocks this nigga in the head with his shield, sending him flying. Bucky whips out his handy dandy knife and they start getting after it, but Cap not taking his ass serious cause he doing side quests mid-fight. So they've been boxing for a minute, none too crazy, and then this crash out gets tired of them fighting equal, so he tackles this nigga for the second time today over the ledge. Cap hits him with the right, and then he bitch slapped this nigga into a front flip and then follows him sliding down. He grabs that nigga's hand, twists that hoe, and then Cap hits his ass with an elbow and then kicks this nigga over the ledge. And then Cap starts running after this car, but this nigga grabs his shield and throws it at his back. And then he pulls out his Glock and Cap picks up his shield. And why every time bro finna get shot, his shield just magically flies into his hand? That plot armor been putting in overtime for his ass. But Cap throws his shield and Bucky like, get that weak shit out of here, and then goes in for his neck, and then he uses that bionic arm to stab Cap in the chest. But Cap head busts his ass twice, like nigga, you're not bettering his condition, you're worsening it. And then Bucky throws his ass at the wall, and then for some reason he goes for this car and Cap grabs him and is choking his ass. Got that nigga feet dangling in the air like Ishiki had Boruto. And then he slams this nigga on his back and he like, let that shit go, I'ma snap your shit. But Bucky brain is fried. Nigga got Aaron Hernandez level CTE. He's not dropping that shit. So Cap snaps his arm and then proceeds to strangle this nigga until he passes out. So Cap still focused on the mission, so he flips up here for no reason. And then Bucky like, oh, you thought I was done? And then he shoots this nigga in the leg. But he keeps moving while Bucky is turning this nigga body into Swiss cheese. He goes to put the card in a slot and then gets shot in the gut. And look at the face of this nigga. Do he look like a mentally stable person? But Cap gets up in time to save the world. Congratulations. And then they start to blow up the entire helicarrier. And per usual, this nigga goes to save Bucky because he's trapped under scrap metal. And then Cap is like, you know me. And he like, no, I don't. Like, gang, he just saved your life. Have some decorum. And Cap trying to explain to him that they've been locked in since they was young, but the CTE is corrupting this nigga brain. And then he hits him with a backhand, so Cap like, I'm not gonna fight you. And then he drops his shield, and this nigga tackles him for the third time today and starts wailing on this nigga, literally beating Cap into a pulp with his souped up metal arm. And then something Cap says trigger his memories, but scrap metal comes down and this nigga falls into the water. But we skip and we see Bucky saving his old friend life, and then he just walks away. And I hope y'all don't think this the end of this crash out story. I know I said I was gonna do this all in one full part on a poll, but this shit would have been long as hell. So that means part 2 coming soon. And with all that being said, I'll see y'all next week. Maybe.